As the Youth Cafe, we stand to empower and amplify and connect with the youth of Africa. We were born of a powerful idea since 2012 by a group of exceptional young minds that have been brought together. They were selected to advise the United Nations high-level panel for the eminent person on the post-2015 agenda. Our mission centers around youth participation and empowerment, aiming to advance youth-led approaches towards sustainable development, social equity, democratic governance, and economic viability practices.
As young people from 4 different countries, that is Kenya, Zambia, Central African Republic, and Ghana, some of which whom they represented here. And I remember when we were beginning this session, we were asking ourselves, as we were doing this co-creation for a toolkit, whereby young people get to advocate for the issues affecting them. And one question was raised in terms of, as we were beginning it, before we called it an advocacy by design. It was meant that we had a more lenient focus on democratic processes that we face in Africa.
You compare Africa with other countries. Something very interesting is that the African, if you do some research in African cities, you will find that a lot of young people have access to these things. They have access to the internet, they have access to the phone and the computer and any other gadget. But if you go to the rural Kenya, or if you go to the slum areas in Kenya, or rather in Africa, rural Africa, they have no access to these gadgets. Africa is lagging behind at 24%. And again, I pose a question to you. If you access these gadgets, what do you do? What are you doing on the internet? Right? That's a question we can ponder. And you could see, look at the ages, those who have access to the internet. This research is very detailed. It's a research which was done between 2019 and 2020, and this other one was done between 2020 and 2021. You can just see if you don't see the numbers, but you can see the colors that tells you that Africa is dragging behind when it comes to digital space. There's a big gap of a certain population which does not access internet.
We've been trying particularly to advocate for young folks' inclusion in mental health policies, and we've been very proud of some of the outcomes that we've done. This is the very first global ministerial summit that happened in UK in 2018. I think they're about 6 or going to the 7th now. And the other end is the World Health Assembly side event, where we're trying to capture the attention of the Global Fund on integration of mental health into their own programs. And some of you implement their programs. And right now, I think it's a plus for us to say that they have adopted integration of mental health into their own programs, and I think it's yet to be implemented, and they committed money into HIV and TB programs that integrate mental health in the coming future. So we are really hopeful that this is not one of those cases like in our own country where we have policies but don't necessarily end in implementation in that sense.
In Africa, it's high time we started promoting the strategy of Ubuntu. We were brought here by a certain organization called Youth Cafe that brought together different kinds of people from different parts of Africa. That's also an ingredient of Ubuntu. Ubuntu entails us to come together, speak the same language, and also promote certain democratic principles that will favor all of us. And I think the only cardinal thing as African youths is to work together. The key word is working together. If we can work together, speak the same language, I believe Africa will be a better place.
The kind of minds that are in the institutions in Africa, if they are given just a strong incubation to empower the innovation and the inventions that they have, Africa is going to have a very powerful movement, because power starts with economic empowerment. After economic empowerment, we can have a social integration. So the governments of Africa, from Cairo to Cape Town, from Dakar, Senegal to Mogadishu, must have a concrete approach to ensuring that they empower the youth in a technocratic manner so that we can compete globally.
Technology is one of the key ingredients actually that I think is going to make things easier for youth in the world. Actually, it has made it easier because of the digital space. Accessing the digital space, people are able to communicate from one part of the country to another and discuss issues that are really affecting youth and persons with disabilities in general. We've been able to see things through online medias or media platforms and be able to learn many things that we even never knew before. So the technology has really helped in leveraging and even manifesting the agendas and issues of youth and persons with disability in particular.
The challenges that the young people face in Africa today is that their voices are not being part of the decisions that are being made by the political leaders or those in power. So in the long run, you will find that when a report is being made or rather something is being made, it lacks out the voice of the young people. So they feel excluded from the decision making, they feel left out. Hence at the end of the day, we only have decisions that are made by those who are few in government and in leadership.
Are young people given an opportunity to be in the decision table? Are young people given an opportunity to make decisions for their own and for their country? Remember, they say that the future is for the young people, is for the youth. If we are not able to make a decision right now, if we are the young people, then what future lies for us? And what future lies for the next generation? So I would wish for our governments, I would wish for our development partners to increase a seat at the decision table and to increase meaningful participation and opportunities, and especially economic opportunities, not just opportunities where it's there for rubber stamping or for taking a picture, but opportunities which correlate directly with the issues that affect young people like insecurity, crime, unemployment, poor education, poor health, and also opportunity to have tax justice, which currently in Kenya you realize that there's a lot of tax injustice on the young people, persons with disability, and also women.
Je pense que les jeunes en Afrique représentent déjà la majorité de la population sur le continent, mais les contextes de chaque pays est vraiment différent et l'implication même des jeunes dans les processus de gouvernance démocratique en Afrique reste un défi majeur. Mais pour nous, ces défis sont bien évidemment positifs et négatifs, mais ces défis vont nous permettre également de construire comment on peut renforcer la capacité de ces jeunes, de ces organisations de jeunesse à s'approprier de la question de gouvernance en Afrique pour leur permettre de développer des activités ou bien des stratégies pour lutter déjà, pour pouvoir participer dans les processus de prise de décision, mais également développer des activités pour vraiment pallier à ces défis majeurs pour leur implication dans la question de la gouvernance démocratique en Afrique. Et je pense qu'il y a beaucoup des organisations des jeunes au niveau de nos différents pays en Afrique qui commencent déjà à impliquer dans leurs activités la question de gouvernance démocratique qui renvoie à plusieurs défis évidemment, la question de réduction de l'espace civique, surtout dans des pays qui essaient de restreindre la communication, surtout des jeunes en matière de gouvernance, leur implication dans la gestion de la cité. Donc nous, en tant que leaders, c'est de développer assez d'activités et de renforcer la capacité des jeunes pour pouvoir pallier à ce défi et vraiment lutter à l'implication des jeunes dans le processus de la gouvernance démocratique en Afrique.
Over 75% of the population in Africa is under the age of 35 years, and it raises very serious and pertinent questions. How are we going to feed these people? How are we going to create opportunities for them, both economically, both politically, and both socially? And one of the ways that you can build a strong and sustainable youth program in Africa is first and foremost investing in young people, providing them financial resources for them to do their entrepreneurship hustles, for them to build their own civil society organizations, also for them to enjoy and to live a standard of living like their parents. I recently read a study by the United Nations Economic Commission for Africa, which showed that our generation of young people, the generation that we are living in, is going to be less economically fortunate than our parents who have preceded us. And so investing in them, ensuring that the money flows, especially to grassroots communities in the rural areas, or even if it's in urban areas, in the urban informal settlements, is where we should start. The second thing that we need to do is we need to build the capacity of young people. And by building capacity we need more knowledge resources, we need more investment in skill, we need more investment in building a business, project management, community engagement skills. We need all that because we know that young people have the ideas, but they do not know how to turn that idea into something, into a product that can work. So we need to have that because this is an area where sadly our education system over time has neglected this role, and it has left many young people having the papers, but they do not have the skills.
For me, one advice that I can give to the future generation with regards to their involvement in advocacy is to seek constantly to be active citizens. Firstly, the issues that confront young people as we know them today are emerging and require an actively engaged citizenry. And that means many things, such as seeking good networks, learning from peers, seeking opportunities to build your own capacity around the issues you are advocating about, understanding the ecosystem and how the entire or broader advocacy ecosystem works, but most importantly, working with a component that appreciates learning, monitoring these and evaluating advocacy efforts that you are engaged in. I know it is not easy, and it is often easier said than done. But looking at my own story, it is to have a conviction and a motivation that drives you to advocate for issues that are bigger than you are. Whether they are challenges and opportunities, whether they are good days or bad days, is to stay consistent, as that counts immensely in terms of building a track record, building a reputation that others can look up to and that can attract the right partnerships, resources, and persons to support your advocacy efforts.